Hello, I'm Rachel from Echidna Sewing and welcome to our studio. Today I'm working with three of my favourite things to create this cute applique. This combination uses a machine embroidery design, a silhouette, an SVG, fabric and heat transfer vinyl. We've named the technique I'm showing you today as Appli-Vinyl. Let me explain further. We've created an embroidery file and it's a base applique made out of fabric. Then we've added heat transfer vinyl, Appli-Vinyl. We love the designs the artist Little Button created for us. You should check out the full set on our website and the stories behind each animal. They hold a personal significance for Little Button, representing different members of her family and her collaboration with us. When I was working with the finer details used in the Little Button Aussie totems, I couldn't get the look I wanted. So I started playing and experimenting with heat transfer vinyl, and I love the outcome. Heat transfer vinyl provided me with a clean finish. It was easy to handle and it didn't fray, which is really important when working with small pieces. It is easy to cut with a cutting machine, and the protective sheet made it simple for me when positioning and ironing onto the silhouette. Plus, it looks really funky. So I've made this block into a cushion. The full instructions to create the same as me are on the cheat sheet. Today we're going to make the block together and then you can create whatever your heart's desire with your possum. This project is quick, easy and a cool new way to blend applique and vinyl. I hope you enjoy creating with me, and let me show you all the tools and equipment I've used to create my possum. So my silhouette is a white background fabric. I've also printed a placement sheet so I can see what my heat transfer vinyl, where it will need to go. I've got my designs put on a USB. I have two colours for my heat transfer vinyl. My scan and cut I'm using as my cutting tool, my low-tack mat. I have an applique mat, which I have actually cut down to smaller sizes so I can maneuver it around. You'll see once we start ironing. I have my iron. If you have a heat press, I will say you can use that, but today I'm using my mini iron, have my weeding tool, a pressing mat, my base fabric, and my stabilizer. Okay, so we're ready to start creating our block. Let's get weeding and stitching. I'll clear the table and we'll be ready to go. Okay, so I have just finished cutting the large orange body for my possum, and I'll take the mat out. So I've got my low-tack cutting mat here. So you use whatever is best for your machine. This is my guide for placement, so I'm just going to pop that there. Take this off the mat and then we'll start weeding. So pull that off first. I have used, you can see on my applique, only two colours, but here on the placement that I'm using, they use three. So with this guy, and also everything's already reversed for you, so you don't need to do that. You just need to load your design and stitch it out. But for this guy, you can see I have used the whole head as well as this green. I just combined those together. So if you want to cut it like me with just the two, that's what you'd need to do. Combine those together on screen. I'll just weed this. It's never easy to do on camera, but I always print a placement so I can see if I miss any details when I'm actually weeding, because I have done that on a couple of occasions. I'm sure you have too. You can see he's starting to transform. And the protective sheet's so good for these designs because it helps make placement perfect onto our fabric silhouette, which you'll see soon. Just pull this off. I have been generous with the sizes I've given you on the cheat sheet. That's so that you can make some mistakes. So let's put this here, and you can see I need to take out this. So we will remove the middle. And here are the possums. His tail is solid. I need to remove one of his arms here. She's probably a she. I keep calling him a he, but. And this one leg here. So once that is done, you can see if I just flip this over, that these two will work really well together and fill in the gaps. So the next step is to stitch out our silhouette onto our background fabric so that we can place our heat transfer vinyl on top and adhere it to that. So I need to clear the table and exchange the cutting machine for my embroidery machine. So to create your machine embroidery applique, I've grabbed all the things I need. So today I'm using the Echidna's Stable Stuff Poly multi-purpose stabilizer. I really love it because it's soft. You don't have to take it out, and you can leave it in the back of your applique. It just gets softer and will eventually wash away. So I prefer to do this for these types of projects. I have some tape that's to tape down my silhouette fabric, which is this. So this is my fabric that I've pre-ironed, so it should be pretty smooth, but that's what my silhouette is going to be stitched on top of my background fabric, which is the same as this. And then this is my stabilizer. I've also grabbed my scissors because I'm going to be trimming in the hoop, and obviously my hoop. So it's quite the large hoop, it's 240 by 240. I do want to say, if you have a machine that doesn't have a large hoop, you could do sewing machine applique if you wanted to, simply by cutting out the shape of the SVG with some fusible webbing on the back and ironing it onto your background and using a blanket stitch to go around the outside. That would work just as well if you don't have a large hoop. So let's hoop up. Just move this over here, set that aside. So I open this up, slide this underneath. I have given you in the cheat sheet really generous sizes for your block because it will be cut down. So you don't need to be, it does need to be square, but it doesn't have to be perfect because you will be squaring up the block. So I am just gently pushing that in. You can see just a little bit of a bubble there, but that's not going to matter too much. And finger tighten down here until I can't tighten anymore. That should be perfect to load. Okay, let's put the hoop in, load up the design, and we will start stitching. So my design's loaded, the hoop's in, and the first thing we're going to stitch is our placement. So just press start and off we go. So we've used white thread on a cream background, so it might be really hard for you to see that outline, but this is quite clear for me, being able to place my fabric. So I'll just put that on top now. Again, making sure that the whole of the possum placement stitch is covered, and then I'm going to tape it down. So just each corner, it's just to hold it in place while the tack down is completed. And then once that tack down stitch is completed, then I'll remove the hoop and we'll trim. So that is ready to go. The tack down stitch has completely gone around the outside, so I'll remove all my pieces of tape. And when I am doing machine embroidery applique, I usually choose my duckbill or these scissors, depending kind of how small the spaces are, and I work both of them like this, but I try and get as close as I can. And just keep cutting round the shape, close as I can to the tack down stitch. As close as I am. It's about 1/8 of an inch kind of outside the silhouette fabric, because you don't want to cut down the threads. Just move that round. Of course, if I was at home on my table, I'd have much more room to do this, but I keep a bit of tension on my fabric and just keep trimming. And the toes, I go in, cut across, and then go down. So up, cut across, and then go down. And that gives you the little toes, a definition. And always moving the hoop around rather than trying to squeeze my arms in an unusual position, which would make cutting not very clear. Last piece was in his tail. Noticed I kind of stopped because I wanted to move my scissors this way. Again, moving the hoop. The last step is to pop the hoop back into the machine, stitch out our decorative stitch, and then we will be up to pressing our heat transfer vinyl onto our silhouette. All my stitching is complete. I'll remove the hoop and then set up for pressing the heat transfer vinyl onto the applique. Stitching's complete, so I just remove my backing fabric and the silhouette from the hoop, put that aside, take off my stabilizer. So I'm just going to take off the outline here. Don't worry about this part, because as I said to you before, it will wash out. But you can pop your scissors in there and skip around and do it if you'd like. But I tend to leave it because this stabilizer is a style of wash away, so I leave it in. And it's lovely and soft when it washes. So here's my silhouette. I'm just going to give this a little press with my iron to give it a little flatten out. Here's the template that I used for placement. On this one, can see the largest part is the orange body, and that's what I'm going to use first. So this is where the protective sheet is so good for placement. So the things that I'm looking at to position the possum's orange part of his body is one that's inside the stitching line, which is here, but also, so I've got to adjust this slightly, that these parts match up with the feet, the claws, and the tummy there. So I'll just adjust slightly, move it around like this, and this is layered vinyl, so I'm making sure that we're trying not to touch the stitches. It looks pretty good to me. I think the front leg could come down a little bit further. I'm going to pop him slightly different angle here. That looks pretty cool. If I grab this, remember I haven't ironed anything on, so I can still adjust, but if I grab this, because he will go in here, I can see if the face and the guts and the backbone works really well with this alignment, and it does. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to use my iron, and I'm going to start probably up the back here. So, and I'm pressing and holding. The protective sheet does protect the HTV for about 10 seconds with the vinyl I'm using today. It is also, for me, a warm peel, so I have to work fairly fast to get this vinyl on and adhered so I can peel. If not, I do just go back to the beginning here, because that was the first part I did. Stand up my iron and just peel it back. Doesn't that look great? Now, for the second part, this is where my applique mat comes in, and I actually have cut my pieces down. So I've taken a big mat and cut them down so that I can just position, and if I think it just needs a little bit of a top up, I will do this rather than the plastic sheet. Then I'm going to get my second piece, and we auditioned it before. I'll just place carefully, and again just looking at different points. There is room to move, but I'm looking at here, here, all the way around here to make sure that the face looks correct, and then I'm looking at here so it's balanced, and the backbone. I'm actually really happy with that. So this is where the cut up applique sheets come in really handy, because you can see this protective sheet covers all of these, but it doesn't cover the tail. So I'm going to pop that tail there for extra protection. And again, I'm going to start this time on the face, and I'm holding and pressing with this iron. So hold and press. I'm not actually ironing as such. So my mini at-home press. And again, this is a hot peel. And it just peels away gently. And here is my Appli-Vinyl Possum. Isn't it gorgeous? I'm really, really happy with that. And it's going to add to the other characters that I have. So I've been playing with a few, and I think I might make myself an Aussie quilt with them. So this is what we affectionately call the bin chicken, or an ibis. Goanna. Again, I really encourage you to have a look out on our website at Little Buttons characters and who they represent in her family. Tassie Devil. Echidna. And then Possum. Here are my top tips for you when working with Appli-Vinyl. First thing, use really sharp scissors when cutting around your applique. So this is around here because then you'll get a really, really clean finish. You do have a couple of options when it comes to the applique itself or working with the silhouette. You could cut with your cutter and apply a fusible webbing on the back if you wanted to. I've chose to trim in the hoop because it's faster and it's one less step for me, so that's why I do that. But you do you, because that's really important. And lastly, know the temperatures of the vinyl that you are working with. You could see quite easily that I have been able to use this iron and it peeled away beautifully. If you press for too long, sometimes you can scorch it. So I have finished my Appli-Vinyl Possum and she looks magnificent. I think she's going to go into an Aussie quilt project. In the meantime, we've got some other things to inspire you with the Appli-Vinyl method, and that is this fabulous runner here with barramundi, jellyfish and crab. So that is a free project on our website. Check that out. And also, we'd love to see what you make. So tag us on Instagram so that we can see your wonderful projects, and we'll see you later.